Good, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of Free Game, where the only thing that we do on this channel is what? Skibbity pop, 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 keep it a stat, pop, pop, pop. And I'm back at it again to give y'all another episode on thoughts on moving to a new city and a new state. So the first thing is, do it. Move, leave. If you're able, if it's applicable, if it's in your vision, near future, far future, if you're scared, happy, like, move. It is good for you to move somewhere, to a new city, to a new state, to start fresh and refreshed so you can get another perspective on life. The second thing is God. It's always God who is first. God who strengthens us. When I moved out here, I had to lean on God a lot because times were hard. Times were difficult. Times were struggling. And I really didn't want to reach out to anyone about it because I feel like that is how majority of civilization and society is. People want to handle their stress, and that's the moral and Morse code of get it out the ground. But no, that is toxic. That is a part of my toxic masculinity. That is not healthy mentally, especially with me being a mental health advocate. And it's just not good. Like, you have loved ones, or hopefully you have loved ones that you can lean on. And if you don't have anyone that you can lean on yourself. Never fail yourself. Pick yourself up, pull yourself up, and it will be hard. It can get hard. But if you don't have you, then who? Because people are busy with their lives. People are busy trying to become the best version of themselves. People are busy trying to create the legacy that they envision. So you have to have you first. You can't pour into somebody else's cup without there being something in yours. And for my life, God is that. Everyone is not religious. Everyone is not spiritual. Everyone is not a member of the church. And live your journey the way that you live your journey. But with my journey, God has helped me so much, near and far. Woo! The third thing about moving to a new city in a new state is it brought me closer to friends and family, which is crazy because you think, damn, I don't want to leave my friends and family. I don't want to go so far away from them. Haha, lie. It brought me closer because it really made me value and realize genuinely how much I love connections and relationships and people. So even though I'm so far away, I still check in on my friends very frequently. I still check in on my associates. Yes, there's a lot of people in the world, and I try my best and I don't get around to everyone, but it makes me want to. It makes me conscious to keep those relationships, whether that's a text saying, hey, I'm thinking about you, or a FaceTime call, or a phone call, or an email. Not an email, but you get the gist and you get the point, or something on Instagram or TikTok, on social media, like where I can just connect and say something. It makes me more proactive rather than being in the same city, same state, 30 minutes away from them. Like, oh, they're right here. One day I'll check in, and that one day turns into 2 years or 2 months or 6 months. And we get it. Everyone's busy, right? Understandable. But for my life and for my relationship, since I'm so far away, I make it a priority to call people and to put people in rotation and to have a schedule, because as you get older, you got to schedule a Google Calendar call or an X, Y, and Z call to really talk to somebody, because there's a lot of things that are on your plate. So it brought me closer to my family and friends rather than it removing me. It made my relationships a lot stronger with a lot of people, and I'm so thankful and grateful and blessed for that. Coolio. The next thing is I am learning, never-ending process, and have learned so much about myself and who I am as a person. Wow. I'm like, Chris, you like that. Chris, you hate that. Chris, you hate when people do that. Chris, you love when people do this. Chris, I didn't know this about you. Like, just how you learn somebody else, you have to learn yourself. And when you spend so much time in your own apartment or your condo or your house, you have nothing but your own thoughts. So get acquainted with them. Get happy with them. Get curious with them. Get curious with yourself. Take yourself on dates, movie dates, dinner dates, museum dates, action dates. Like, do whatever your heart desires. When a thought comes into your mind, pew, as long as it's not deadly or killing or harming somebody else or blocking somebody else's path, why not? Yeah, you're scared. Okay, so is everybody else before you. You have to go for it. And then you'd be like, dang, I really love doing this. And when that consistency kicks in, ooh, boy, they're not even going to be able to recognize you because you're like, well, I didn't know this identity of who you are. Shoot, me either. But here we are. You learn so much about you and you mature so much. Hopefully for better. But I'm maturing so much for the better. Looking back at even college, Chris, there was things that I wish I could go back and change, but I've forgiven myself for doing those things because I cannot change the past. I can only focus on the present that controls and dictates my future. But I've grown so much in so many different ways, and I'm proud of my growth. I've forgiven myself. I have forgiven other people. And I told other people, I hope you can forgive me for the actions that I've wronged you in. Maturity is so big when you're moving to a new city and or a new state. Booyah, baby. The next thing is dating is so different. It's so hard. It's so new. It's so hard. It's so hard. It's so hard. I'm going to put this in my when I was a freshman podcast, but I wish around junior year, senior year that I would have taken a woman very, very seriously when it came down to dating, because it's just much more complex and much more challenging for my life now, because I feel like you have to use a lot of social media. I go to the gym and I work out at the gym by myself, and I work virtually from whenever to around 5 p.m. and then you have dinner, and then you have maybe one Hulu, Netflix, Showtime, HBO Max show before it's 10, 11 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and you in the bed, and you got to restart the same cycle again. So it's really hard to meet so many new people on a constant and daily basis. And it wasn't that hard when I was in school and when I was in college. And I know everybody doesn't go to school or go to college, or everybody's college looks different, or some people are homeschooled. But I say that to say dating is very different when you move to a new city, a new state, because nobody knows who you are really, unless you're famous or a celebrity for something. They just see you as another person walking on the planet. So I'd be like, dang, I don't know what song this is. Dating is hard, dating is different, dating is a struggle, dating is a challenge. I'm still figuring out what dating looks like for me. And that's an ongoing journey. I do have some advice and tips and knowledge on what I wish I would have done differently when I was in college. Y'all, I'm sorry, I do not like this playlist. I just have to change it real quick. Just give me a second. How was y'all's day? Good. This is better. Dating is hard. Dating is different. If you like somebody, tell them you like them. They might not like you back. You have to get over it. It's life. Same with you. They like you. You might not like them physically, emotionally, intrinsically, mentally, spiritually. They're gonna have to get over it, because if you're not gonna change your mind, then what? They're gonna have to get over it, and life keeps going. The sun is not gonna come down and give you a napkin. And that's not to be insensitive, but that's to tell you and motivate you to keep going, keep pushing. Like, you want somebody who wants you. You want somebody who looks at you. Yes, the physical attraction is 100% important, but somebody who looks past that, somebody who knows your heart, somebody who knows your mind, somebody who falls in love with your mind. That's also called a sapiosexual, somebody who really loves somebody's intellectual ability that can teach them things that really refreshes them in the mind. So keep that in mind. The next thing is food and restaurants. When you move to a new city and a new state, you get to try all of these different local places that you haven't had in your place, or like there's not that many similarities, and it's exciting. At least it's exciting for me. I didn't even eat like that. I ate snacks every day, maybe one meal a day, but I'd be out here eating twice a day, almost up to 3 times a day, trying new places, asking them what's the most popular, what's in demand, what it tastes like, what's different. You really have to be open-minded to accept that and to get that, but I love it and it's great. And you have to get into something new because there's so much more world other than the environment that you grew up in. There's this book that Michelle Obama wrote that said, "What happened to you?" Basically describing and depicting that your environment, your mindset is not the mindset of the world. It's the mindset of your establishment, your environment, how you grew up, how you were raised, how you were taught, how you were trained. And there's so much more out there. So explore it. Be curious. Be thoughtful. The architecture of a city and a state is so important. I thought I liked Houston. I don't. It's not that I hate it. It's just not what I thought it was. Like, it's not bad. The food is good. The economy is good. There's no state income tax. The suburban houses are a great affordable price. And then I think it might just be the area that I'm living in, like the downtown, midtown area. But if I go like 20, 25 minutes out, kind of in between Midtown and the suburban areas, they have some nice locations over there. But I say all of that to say the architecture of where you're staying is 3,000% important. And you might say, oh, I already knew that. But no, because I thought the same thing too. You can have a nice apartment and you can decorate it nicely, but when you look outside, like, what does your view look like? What do the buildings look like? Is the grass maintained and upkept? Like, does it refresh your mind? Is it nurtured? Like, there's a lot of things that generally go into it that I didn't really think too intentionally about. So think about that. I really like the architecture of Washington, D.C. Chicago is all right / coolish. It's to me like a better New York, but those are two big ones that I really, really like and something that's been on my mind lately. So the city and the architecture is very important, and the culture of a city and state isn't very important too. I'm still figuring out the culture in Texas. It's getting very much like rodeo, cowboy, but there's also very different cities depending on where you are. Like, there's so many different racial and ethnic communities that are in the state of Texas that is so intriguing, and you have to know how to enter them, or like what's the best space or the most accepting spaces of entering other communities and cultures that you might not have ever been involved in. But once you figure that out, I think it's really cool, really exciting, like bringing people together for better and never for worse. Remember that. Come on now. The next thing is the refreshed mindset and a fresh start. You might have made mistakes in the past. You might have messed up with this person, that person. Nobody is perfect. And being able to go somewhere new, I don't care what anybody says, is just so great because you can learn from your experiences and you can grow. And even if you do learn from your experiences and you grew and people hate you, people still remember what you've done, as they should. You know, it is forgive, but I can't even forget. But when you go somewhere new, you can start with those new refreshed experiences that you've learned and grown from, and people won't judge you and ridicule you, and you don't feel like you have this huge weight and burden on your chest. Don't act like somebody new, but you can forgive yourself. You can be better in life. You can make different decisions. You are not held responsible to the actions of your life after you have, one, recognized and accepted that what you did was indeed wrong or indeed hurted somebody else. Two, have apologized to that person and have accepted that just because you apologize doesn't mean that that person has to forgive you, but you have done all that you could have done if your apology was sincere and genuine and from the heart, and not just saying, oh yeah, I apologize. What are you apologizing to me for? What are you sorry for? Are you sorry for how I feel, for my malicious actions, for my unintentional thought process and how it affected you? What are you sorry for? Like, let's break that down. Let's go into detail, man. A refreshed mindset. New friends that turn into family, new coworkers, new associates, new strangers, new high and by buddies, just new. It feels good. It feels great. It feels phenomenal. The next thing is the job and the co-workers too. I mean, I'm not really going to speak on that too much, but if you're in a new city, in a new state, and that job is exclusive to that area or to that culture or that community, that's really, really good. Like, every place that I work at within the Deloitte atmosphere has a Deloitte building. I'm pretty sure we have one or multiple buildings in every state, and each building has its own vibe, its own culture shift, its own energy of people. So I've been to the Austin, Texas one, the Houston, Texas one, the Roslyn, Virginia one, the Atlanta one, the California one, in Santa Monica. I've been to I can't remember, but I've been to a couple, and I like how they're different. Each one is different. And I can move and I can shift and I can adjust to a new city or a new state and still work in my same company as long as I put in a transfer form. And yeah, that's not the same across all companies and industries, but that's how mine works. So the biggest thing for me is like local attractions. My toe. Local attractions in tourist areas. I love new experiences of life. Like, I feel like we're all a culmination of experiences, not good or bad. And society dictates, yeah, that was good or bad, but we're just a culmination of experiences. And I love doing a lot of things for the first time. So moving to a city for the first time, moving to a new state for the first time. Those cities and states being places that I've never been before. And whether that's a restaurant or whether that's a entertainment place or a bowling alley, like, I just like doing new stuff and seeing like whoever constructed this, the engineers, the marketing people, like how their mindsets were thinking and how everybody snipped different things together. Like, it really makes me feel alive on a consistent basis instead of being in a routine for a very, 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 very long time. And there's nothing wrong with being organized and having a box system and a routine. Like, that's also necessary for consistency and for success and for discipline, right? But being able to allocate time to do something you've never done before is so cool and so great. So local attractions. I haven't been to the Six Flags over Texas, but I plan on going to that this upcoming summer. I haven't been to the yearly and annual rodeo that they have here that's supposed to be so big. I'm gonna get my cowboy hat and dress in all black with my black boots and my handkerchief and make sure that I'm culturally appropriate so nothing happens, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I love stuff like that. I love doing new things, different things. I like looking up what is local to Houston, what is home to Texas, the Lone Star State. What do I need to do before I go somewhere else? What do I need to check off the box? I love checklists. This goes back to the maturity of learning a lot about yourself, but the cycle of life. Like, when you are asleep and you're in your own space and you wake up and go to bed and the sun rises and the sun sets and the sun sets and the sun rises, you start to get an understanding of life a lot more in the circle of life and how that is, because it's different from where you are, and you can compare and contrast that to where you have been. Like, dang, this is how I was operating in Atlanta or Texas or California, and now I can see these different things. I can see the similarities, I can see the contrast, I can see how to move and navigate, and it really teaches you a lot about the world, in my personal opinion. It really gives you the opportunity to have an intro perspective experience on something that you can't get unless you decide to go out and do yourself. Like, you can be the greatest listener, but you won't feel what the other person is describing to you, what I'm describing to you, unless you just go out and do it. So my best advice is just to go. The first thing I said is do it. Move at least once, really twice. Just move. Like, be scared, but just go. You're not going to die. I promise. I hope. I pray. finding your purpose. In my personal opinion, it brings you closer to your purpose because it really shows and tells you when you move to a new city in a new state what matters to you most and what falls in line with the prioritization rank. Like me, my day-to-day life looks like waking up at 5 a.m., going to the gym, working out, coming back, working virtually. I go into the office if it's a happy hour or if it's an in-person program that I can meet some new people, or unless my client wants me to be in person. If it's not one of those three things, I'm working from home. I'm on that until 8 to 5 or until when my last meeting is. After that, I'm finding me a Netflix show, a Hulu show or something that I want to watch in the meantime. I'm eating my meal prep that I made on Sunday, thank God. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, I'm just chilling, I'm relaxing. I am getting prepared for the next day. I have to be to bed by 9 p.m. so I can be up at 5 a.m. again. So those are very, very important things that I learned about my cycle and like when those are doing things and getting my body in a routine. My adaptability is not the best and I have to make sure to stick to my routine when I go to a new city, new state. But that is so big. And it really helped me to develop my podcast. Like, it's not nowhere near where I can envision it being. And I learn something new every time that I record, every time that I go back and rewatch the videos to get great. And I'm such a perfectionist, believe it or not. So when I see things that I could have done better or watch my videos, I'll be like, damn, let me delete it and start again. But you just have to keep it so people who are also thinking how you're thinking can be like, look at them. Look where they are versus where they were. They sucked. Sorry, I'll tell you. But now you're great, you're good. And I think that that's very important, very real, very raw, very genuine, very authentic, very affirming to people who share those same sentiments and thoughts. Side note, I don't think anybody has ever had an original thought. And I tell people that because they be like, why are you being so mean? But I'm serious. Like, life is not about trying to be the most unique individual anymore and making sure that you have a thought that nobody else has. In my personal opinion, it's about finding your community of what you want to advance, whether that's in the healthcare industry, the business industry, the engineering industry, the mental health advocacy industry, like whatever it is, the technological industry, tech, like whatever industry you want to be in, like join that community and worry about tackling something together. Life's most important and persistent question is, what are we doing for others? Yeah. Next thing is, you get to fail, be scared, make mistakes, and keep trying. Life is all about perspective. You could have the worst day, and at the end of your worst day, if someone says something like, I'm just thankful that I'm alive, that I'm able, that I'm mobile, that I have my arms, that I have my limbs, that I have my mouth, that I can speak and communicate, that I can see. Don't get too caught up in the big things and be grateful for the small things that we don't give ourselves credit and we're not thankful and blessed for every day. To wake up, to go to the gym, to work out, to hang out with friends, to travel. I'm going to Arizona today. I'm gonna be there until Tuesday. Going to Atlanta on Tuesday. I'm gonna be there either till Friday or Sunday. And I'm excited that I can do those things. And I started journaling daily, twice, 2 different journals from one my brother, one my sister. And I'm just so thankful that they gave me those because it really just puts things into retrospect for me and I'm so blessed. Make mistakes, be scared, still do it. I was skating one time and somebody said, yeah, bro, you're about to fall and probably bust your behind. Okay, get up, you learn something. That means you tried a little bit harder and do it again until you get it. And imagine the euphoria, the eureka that you're going to feel once you do it, right? The last thing that I have on my list is budgeting. Budgeting is so big when you're moving to a new city in a new state. Already on top of, personally for my lifestyle, college graduation. Like, I was graduating college, I was going to a new city, I was going to a new state. It wasn't my first apartment, but it was my first apartment by myself. I had to worry about paying rent and getting renter's insurance and paying my own car insurance and what insurance I'm gonna get and getting my own dental, health, and vision insurance, and my PPO plans, and all of the stuff that grown folks think about and worry about and optimize and maximize that we usually, or most people, not all, typically let their parents handle until you have to worry about it, being on your health insurance until they're 26. A lot of things that you have to think about. The AC and turning it off. Y'all, I did not know that you're supposed to turn your AC completely off and on auto instead of on when you travel to save the bill. Makes so much sense now, I know. Chris, you know. But I didn't know that because I never had to worry about the AC. Like, I was just told to leave it on 72, 73 and don't touch it. Maybe I should have been more curious, but I wasn't paying it. My phone bill, my 401k plan, getting a new license for the state and the amount of time you have for that, getting a new license plate so you can vote. If you vote, you have to register within the state with the DMV. They can be very complex and very challenging. If I didn't say renter's insurance. You have to sign up and register for so many things when you're moving to a new city and a new state. Moving, how are you going to get there? Are you going to drive your car? Are you going to transport your car? Like, there's a lot of thoughts that go into it, and it can be daunting unless you reach out to somebody, talk to somebody. People are here for you. Maybe not everybody, but someone is. I promise you I am. Hit me up in the DMs. I will tell you it is okay. Like, come on. Overall, if you don't take anything else from this video, move to a new city and or a new state if you can, because it is life-changing. It has flipped my mind completely upside down. And I am so thankful and so blessed and so grateful that I took the opportunity to do that, because personally, I think a lot of people are either scared to do that or have a lot of obligations or commitments that are keeping them from doing that. Whether you are a primary caretaker or financial reasons and restrictions and obligations. But if you are blessed and you are able, or in the future you're thinking about doing it, do it while you are young. If you want a wife, kids, a husband, children, adopt, whatever that is, like, those are lifetime obligations and commitments, and it might be a little bit more challenging and complex to jump up and move from here to here, here to here, here to there to here, right? Go for it now while you can, while it's on your mind, while you're fresh. Even if you're older, still do it. Why not? If you can, if you want to. This is your life. My philosophy is, if you're not negatively impacting or affecting someone else's life, or not doing something that they don't want you to do, then live your life to the fullest. Our greatest superpower is the ability to be yourself. Work on each identity and see what that looks like until holistically you radiate so much light and so much energy that people envy. I used to envy people, a good envy, of people who were just so authentically them. Didn't seem like they were conscious to other people's thoughts. I'm still not at that mindset yet, but I pray to get there, because it just feels so much more peaceful. Life is already complex enough. Don't stand in your own way too.